Holy smokes. Greetings and salutations, Internet. There are few moments where I'm just very proud to be an American citizen. Normally, I say I'm Turtle Islander. America is the country, it's the government that's been holding me captive for my entire life, uh, robbing me every 15th of April. Excusez-moi, it's allergies. It's not hantavirus. Don't be worried. But it's just so, America, we've been in need of a revolution for a very long time, and people have been asleep. We have Epstein revelations revealing that, our country is run by uh, elite pedophiles who are just like they inherited uh, the mechanisms of control, which are the corporations, have more rights than we do. And they think they're better than us, as they molest children and commit genocide. And it's not like they're creating the devices that they're patenting. It's they get engineers from other countries because let's face it, America, we're pretty stupid. You look at the educational system, the K through 12 educational system, we're getting duped, paying all this money in comparison to other countries. I'm talking about per capita, the money we spend on our education is you would think we have better results, but our books are from the Mossad, McGraw Hill. It was funded by the precursor to Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell's dad, Robert Maxwell. Those are the people in charge of our books. So they've been keeping us stupid for a while. Now, the blackmail pedophiles who control our politicians, none of them, and our politicians are the blackmail pedophiles as well. There is just like a whole clique of blackmail pedophiles who are, and we call them, certain people call them elite. I am outside of that myself. I'm like these scumbags, people like Elon Musk, richest man in the world, the biggest welfare queen. Like this motherfucker does not, these people do not earn the money. They make inferior products. They don't even make them. They get engineers to make them, and then they keep the better option off the market. It's a big racket. But the blackmail pedophiles, they've been hyping up this AI. Now they've been putting these AI data centers in people's backyards without them knowing. But once people, got wise to it, start noticing their electricity bills going through the roof, water quality just becoming sludge, and then they don't have access to water for good parts of the day. So like they started, people started getting a little unwieldy. They started protesting. There was people showing up to city councils to protest bringing the AI data centers, and it was entire cities that showed up. And then it was city council members who approved the data centers when no one else wanted them, and then they ended up losing their seats immediately. That was beautiful. That's like that. That is the kind of stuff that makes me proud to be an American. We are in uncharted territory. Like the criminals who run the system, like they are emboldened. They're trying to prepare us for another fucking pandemic, a pandemic to just shut down all of the protests. This is the same shit that was like, remember in 2019, it was movements building for healthcare for all of this, the stuff that would have been great to have during a pandemic, an actual pandemic. But instead of putting out the companies out of business, um, for the for-profit healthcare model, which is not good because it leads to health insurance instead of health care. You deal with your health insurance instead of getting the health care you need. So a lot of people, they end up leaving the country to get health care because it's a lot easier. But like I said, the people who run this whole system, they're all the blackmail pedophiles, and the AI data centers. They're big. They're there to swoop up all of your information, so they can like spy on you, so they can get dirt on you. So instead of us bringing our blackmail pedophiles to justice, like they build data centers to get dirt on you. So it's just like we're a nation of just blackmail people who can't do anything, while the sickest people in our society continue to write the rules. And yeah, all of the criminality that takes place among the bottom 99%, uh, um, it's usually survival based. Like people steal a loaf of bread to feed the family and whatnot. Get some shoes for the kids or whatever you got going on, right? Uh, the criminality of the blackmail pedophiles who are installing this panopticon to surveil you. These are the people who have to go to islands, do all of this sick shit. They sacrifice children. They sacrifice whoever gets in their way. Uh, uh, no qualms about killing people, or they probably don't get their own hands dirty. They pay a hitman to do it. That's why the Epstein class killed more of my heroes than Thanos and Darkseid combined. Like all of the uh, major revolutionaries who were telling us about the system, trying to do something about it for forever. Um, yeah, they always die before their time, and it's usually funded by the Western governments and their secret shadowy agencies. But now the people are just catching on. So they had the warehouse fires, which I expressed concern for because we got a lot of pyromaniacs in our midst, right? And we start making heroes out of people who set stuff on fire. Like you got a dangerous combination. Some people, they just like, they got a narrative in their mind where it's just like they'll burn down their mama's house because my mama oppressed me or whatever, and it's just like I don't want anyone to go into that stuff. And when it comes to the warehouses, like if it's not a locally owned or something, I got no love for it, But sometimes if it's like a worker co-op, definitely don't burn it down. Um, but with that caveat, like I've seen people setting ICE detention centers on fire. um, that was like, once again, it's just like make sure no one's in there. I don't want anyone to get hurt. However, like am I mad that an ICE detention center got set on fire? No. But then, if that wasn't enough, I was looking at the video of AI data centers being bombed, which is knuckin' futs. And it was something that Iran was threatening to do. They were threatening to bomb like Palantir and a few other of the AI headquarters in like other countries, like that are surrounding them. They were threatening to bomb all of the secret government funded AI projects, which I'm like, go on. Please proceed, Iran. It's just like when they were threatening to wipe out Experian and all of the credit agencies, so everybody in America would have 1,000-point credit score. Like they would forgive all of your debt. The bank wouldn't know how much money you owe in your house, and that's basically what Pretty Boy Floyd did. When he would rob banks, he would like tear up the mortgages and burn that shit down so they couldn't the people who owed on their house, like they didn't know anything. That's why the government had to step in and create pro government propaganda, because like the villains were more likable than the U.S. government, and it's the same case with Iran. The people who they tell us are the villains are more likable. They say that they're having a war. We call it the Iran War. They call it the Epstein War. So it's just like, by that logic, I mean, I've been against the Epstein class ever since I was born, even when I didn't know it yet. I was just like, these whole motherfuckers, they need to go. And as I, developed, lived in LA, got well acquainted with that class of people. Yeah, I was like, yeah, these people are vile, and now the rest of the world is catching on. That's why it's just like, I love to see the bombing. Let's not say I love to see the bombing. I love to see the energy that people are putting into bringing down these data centers. I wish we could do it peacefully. I wish we could just go and sing a song to the city council, get them to dismantle it and put that money into stuff that makes sense. Making sure that corporations don't own houses so we don't have a homelessness epidemic. I wish that was the case. But, people just kept getting pushed, having data centers forced on them. Now they're bombing, right? Now this kind of just makes me wonder, what is the next step? What is it? Because it's like we're bombing data centers. It's just like, I don't want to see the continuous bombing. But the reasons these data centers are popping up, like they're still there. I was listening to it was a Tucker Carlson conversation with O'Leary, the guy from the Shark Tank. Shark Tank is a perfect example of what is everything wrong with America. These motherfuckers, these really rich people, they could buy up someone else's idea to make more money, right? And this is why I have so many issues with the patent system, because even if these people don't sell their ideas to these vultures, they can use their connections with the government, their understanding of the patent system, and on how to crush this up and coming business, right? And it's just like, these are not better people. These are better connected people. The O'Leary character, he was like all about these data centers. And he was like, he couldn't understand why people are so against the data centers. He's like, what's the big deal? Like China, they spy on their people. Don't you want China to have the technology and not us? I'm like, yeah, China, they also like lifted 800 million of their people out of poverty. They don't have the homelessness issues that we have. So it's like they take the worst of all worlds, but it's most profitable to them. And they expect us to just like be okay with it. And that's when people start getting bombs and going to data centers. And this is not what we want. However, this was totally forecasted. I've been saying this shit for years. That's why I did Revolution the musical. Because it's like, sometimes I get in the circles of people who are, connected to actual power. Like, so a lot of the time it's the progeny of motherfuckers, who may have created something, or like long lineages of just people who stole, and then they just like incorporated their power in these corporations. But um yeah, it's just like, the people who are closest to that world, who are brought up in it, like people who inherited the reins of power, they are the dumbest people in the world. um they think they're brilliant. They get, because they just swoop in, get these ideas. They have access to DARPA creation. So like stuff like the internet came from ARPA, which became DARPA. And this is like scientists who work for the government. Like all of the technology we use for our devices that we're streaming this on, um, it started off as DARPA technology. Then people come in, buy the patents of it. You don't know what the inventor actually looks like. That's why it's weird to see the racism, where it's just like, yeah, white people, we created everything. Like, let's look at the engineers. Let's go. Let's go to where your stuff is actually being created. The public engineers, none of them come from America. When we start getting into like the ones who work for the government, usually, uh, we bring in people from different countries. Like, Americans were not bred to be smart, right? You look at we have the imperial system. That is, like the other countries, they have the metric system, which makes a lot more sense. It's easier to understand numbers, and when you start doing anything scientific, it's going to be in metric. Um, Imperial is, it's like how many inches in a mile, how many, and it's just like when it comes to metrics, it's just like moving decimals, and it's just so much easier to conceptualize, space, weight. uh, um, they want us to be stupid with math. That's why it's just like so. Everything is so incongruent. But they want us to be stupid with math, so we don't realize how badly we're being fucked. Um, and that's when people start like reading books about how to make Molotov cocktails and bombing data centers. Um, but like the people who benefit from it, they always tell me I'm impractical. It's just like you can't have corporations just not stealing the wealth of the people. You have to, and it's in the Tucker Carlson interview with the Kevin O'Leary character. He was just like, yeah, we need these job creators. What do you want to? Because Tucker was like, why should we be funding the data centers? He's like, come on, these are giving jobs. Look at, we're getting 2,000 jobs, and it's just like, I hate that bullshit job creator shit. It means nothing to me. It's just like a lot of jobs shouldn't exist. And I talk to people who are just like, they are in jobs which it's just like, that's how I eat, and they can't imagine not doing that because it pays so well, but the job is evil. um, that's why it's just like, the when I was being courted by a company, they had me going to these little mixers with the black people who have these jobs that shouldn't exist. Really, they're just like PR. They're like, they got black faces, so it's like, we're not racist. And like they got like Boeing, and they got like all of the most evil companies represented. And it's just like, yeah, we talk and we just see the humanity in each other, and it's just like, show solidarity, and if you catch a rap for bombing children, I'm supposed to come to your back and that kind of shit. And yeah, that's what one of the reasons. I didn't really continue down it. I was like, I can't do this, y'all. Anytime someone is talking about how much money they make, and they don't talk about what they actually do, they're doing something evil. take that one to the bank. Or they're doing some shady shit that they don't want you to know about. Let's just say that. If they actually talk about their work day, it will be some shame in it. So they talk about what they got from the work day as opposed to, and that makes them feel empowered. Yeah. Yes, sir. How true that is. Indubitably. Appreciate it. It's good to see you. Oh, cheers, Nate. Yes. Too many think corporations are people. Well, yeah, that's the law recognizes them as human beings or as people, but they're more powerful. So it's your speech is your reach. So it's like my speech, like more money, you have more reach. Um, Believe it or not, when YouTube started, um, but this is before Google bought it, before uh, uh, you could get paid off of it when it was just like, it's like no one knew. It was a wild west of the online. But when YouTube started, it was the algorithm favored engagement. Uh, so that's when they used to kiss my ass. They created the networks around 2012. This was like 4 years after we had already started getting paid. And the networks were brought in to basically turn YouTube into television. So uh my I only signed the network because my views were going up. Right. So it was like views were going up, but CPMs were going down. So my money was going down even though my views were shooting up. And I was confused. Um and then I was getting hit up by all kinds of networks. I didn't know what the fuck that was or anything. And um uh, um then I got like a long letter from, it was who someone who ended up being with the full screen. And I even had the CEO of Full Screen. He was like talking about my content. He was like, he was watching my stuff and asking me, specific stuff about specific videos and shit like that. Um, but it was like they would bring me into these little meetings. I love everything about you. Now change these 50 things about you that make you who you are, so we can make you more money. So like they scare you into signing. They get you in. They try to change all that shit. They used to, man. They like they were trying to get me to do shows for their network. Like so I started like series that they can maintain the rights to the franchise idea. So and then they were just like, they were trying to, they were pitching some of the stuff they wanted me to do, like kinds of stuff they want me to do. A lot of angry black guy. Uh, um, it was fallout from the Kevin. I didn't even watch it, but the Kevin Hart uh, roast. I saw clips of the white dude saying some racist shit, talking about um, George Floyd is looking up at us now, implying he was in hell. It's like he can't breathe. And I just always go back to all the shit in the world, all of the real fucked up shit that we need to address needs to be called out. There needs to be a light shined on it. All of the most villainous people. Like everybody, let's look at the fucking Epstein clientele list and the new Epstein list. All of that shit. The people who have all the real power, who have like they have not faced justice for raping children and cannibalizing them. Right? Um, they're all white, right? And it's just like for you to like talk about talk shit about someone. had no power, died 5 years ago, killed by the state, and make that like the focus of your attention. Like you want to like disrespect this person to get your laugh, as opposed to like shining a light on power. That's a sign to me that you must be connected to that other shit. Like you have some vestiges of your life that are connected to that. I don't know. I don't. It was my. I didn't know who this cat was, but like, um, it's just like the one dude going out pulling a gun, calling people monkeys and chimps and niggers and shit like that. It's just like, what do you hope to accomplish? This is the is this a genuine uh, 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 attempt to like ameliorate whatever you got going on in your life? You think that harassing people with no power is going to make your life any better? Like, why not actually go to people who never face justice? Uh, uh, People who are actually like they're planning another pandemic to lock you down and give you a bunch of bullshit about 2 weeks to flatten the curve. All of that shit. They got intentions that we don't know about. And they got power to implement, and you don't want to go into their neighborhoods and harass them. Um, you go into black people's shit. And this is not like something I'm not used to. It was I was having a conversation with my ex's uh, uh, friend's dad, and I enjoyed his comfortability and his racism. Like the other people who were hearing it, they were getting offended for me because he was just saying dumb shit. He was like, "Yeah, you're black, so but you're not sagging your pants," and he was just like saying it was just like some silly shit. Um, but he was talking. He was focused, hyper focused on Portland for some reason. And he was like, "Yeah, they're the Portland. They're out there. They're killing white people, and they're celebrating. They're like," and I'm like, "Who are they? What is going on?" It's like, "Yeah, the blacks. You blacks are doing it." I'm like, "What are you think? Like we just like, hey, let's go to Portland and kill white people? That's not like something that black people do. Like plotting the mass murder of innocent civilians. That's kind of a white person's thing to do. Like there may be a robbery with a gun that goes wrong with black people involved, but like just taking time out of your day to plot murdering and controlling people, and that's not like an activity that the black people really have a lot of time to focus on. Yes, sir. True, that is. Nate, you the man. No, you the man, Mr. Holla. Uh, Theme music. Theme music. Bow, bow, bow. You look like a communist superhero. Okay. I will crush you. Too many. Oh, yeah. That algorithm got no rhythm. Yeah, no. The algorithm is not your friend. I get offended. All right. Well, especially on the YouTubes. I don't really fuck with it. Last time I did like sometimes I come across like a test computer like like in a store. It was like last time I did it was like a few years ago, but I just opened up a page that's not connected to anyone's thing, just and I went there and I searched my name, um and it's just like, yeah, the front page, first of all, like the shit that they pushed is garbage. When I searched, I used to be the number one Nate, like first Nate that will pop up in the search engine. Then when I after losing Nate's vlogs, um, I could write out my entire channel name, Nate Flicks, and it was still the entire way would be like recommendations for Netflix. It would correct it, even though it's not spelled the same. Flicks. Nate, but it's just like it corrected it the entire way. And then like when I put Nate, you can see where my position was supposed to be, because it was like Nate's. But then when it got to where I should have been, it said Netflix. That's when it recommended the alternative, and it just continued. It was just a frustrating uh, experience, and it's just like the algorithm right now. It is just it's pay to play. It's garbage. Um, it's all these partnerships with brands and producer and some of the influencers, they're basically nothing but an ad. I used to have a policy. If I had more than $2,000 from the videos when my rent was only $500, I didn't even do an ad. Um, no extra stuff. I only started doing a lot more of the sponsored content when I was, when my ex moved in and I had way more expenses. But yeah, I still called it, like I saw it. If I got a broken product, I acknowledged it. And for the videos because some of the stuff, like I talked about the issue I had with the product, and then they said I wouldn't get paid unless I took that part out. So the videos where I had to do that to get paid, as soon as the payment went through, I took the video down. So yeah, that was just one of the things, because when I had my multiple addresses became public. So I was like, I don't want to be the face for some janky shit that blows up in one of my viewers' faces, and then they find my address and do everything that they should be doing to the Epstein class right now. So yeah, no, I keep the gaze directed at the actual problem. Fuck them people miss that content of yours. Netflix.net, rumble.com/Netflix. If you want to see everything that was uploaded at youtube.com/Netflix before it got taken down, you can go to rumble.com/@Netflix. That backed up everything that I had. I mean, no, I said Odyssey, ODYSEE.com/@Netflix. That's where I'm at. That backed up all of the Netflix YouTube stuff. I remember the full screen days, man. I just saw the friend who I called, when I was like figuring out what network I wanted to go to. I knew someone who joined full screen, and I was just calling to see how that had served him, and he was talking about some of the sponsorship and shit like that. But he also has completely different content. He loves the media that he talks about. He has such reverence for it. And I loved at one point a lot of the stuff that I talk about, but then I also just recognize the messaging, and I'm like, that's not very healthy. Um, so it's just like, it's different approaches, but so it's just like I was a problem with full screen, because I got to do what I do. But even though he didn't lose, he wasn't a part of the fuck full screen movement. He saw like benefits of it. Eventually, full screen, they kicked off all of their influencers. They like, now we just take it from the news now. We'll just get like the people from MSNBC and all of, well, it was whatever. I forget who AT&T owns, but it's all one big clusterfuck. They just draw from whatever news Yeah, I think they do. But it's just like they just take the people from the TV and put them on the media. It's just like when I encountered some. I was at an event where it was like BuzzFeed. They had sent some reporters there, and one of the people who were there on the BuzzFeed thing, they were like, they don't get any acknowledgement of who they are. They don't have their name or anything like that. Or if they do have it, it's just like the first name, but it's nothing connected to their socials or their own personal YouTube or whatever. It's just like no one knows that they have their own little world outside of this. They're super replaceable. Um, yeah, and that's like what a lot of YouTube, like the major YouTube channels, they're these conglomerates like that. Like they devalue the person who's on the screen. It's just like a big. It's nasty, and it's just like like the I think it was last year or the year before they had the writer strike in Hollywood along the same time they were having the it was the writer strike alongside with the actor strike, and it's just like who wasn't on strike, right? Every body that you associate with your favorite TV show or movie was on strike. Like the writer, if you watch them for the writing, watch it for the acting, they were all on strike. But who wasn't? It was like this the people who are siphoning everything. They create they bring nothing to the table. You could say they bring in the capital, but it's like a rigged system, and they have the final say uh, of the message that gets across. They'll have people rewrite parts of the movie, to fit their agenda, uh, and they don't pay the people correctly. They have motherfuckers like sleeping in cars while making movies. I remember when I was a kid, I used to think as soon as you get on TV, you're a millionaire. Like you get $1 million in royalty every time that shit replays, and like you set for life. And it was 2008 when I got my first paid TV spot. It was for a show for Rotten Tomatoes, and it was $110 per um, uh, review. And it was $110. And the movie itself was like 10, $15. So it's like, I guess I was making enough to cover that, but not much. But it was, it was just I still remember the first time I went to a friend's house because I didn't have the cable channel to watch it. I had like limited cable, and I had to go to a friend's house. And I was uh, uh, I was trying to watch the whole show because I did two reviews, but I only got paid for one of them. And so I was like, are they going to use the other one, or how's that going to work? But we ended up watching the whole show. The review I was on wasn't into the last one, the last part of the show, and my friend just kept like turning it back and forth between some it was like Laguna Beach or some fucking dumbass reality show. This was before I did reality TV, which made me have like I hate reality TV. I used to actually watch some of it, not that shit she watched. But I used to watch like some of the dating shows and all that shit. But yeah, after working, I was like, this shit is just fake. Um, it is. It's there to be bad. Like they always try to uh, um, uh, portray black people in the worst light. And if you do something that doesn't look bad, like doesn't look terrible, they make you redo it. and in a bad way where you like they want you to look stupid. Um, they want drama. One of the uh, auditions I went to, I used to do these paid auditions. Um, once I started having like issues with the funding for my YouTube channel, and I went to a game show, and they were commenting on how shitty the people's answers were. But you know the other game show I did before that, I got like I was the only one to get a perfect score. And then like he came across my little answer sheet. He was who's Nathan? And I was like me. He was like impressed because I was like, you know, I knew some of the answers, most of them. Um, and uh, uh, um, but you know, like there was one person who showed up because the idea of this particular game show was like at the end of it, the last question you have, everything is like time based. Longer it takes, the more money erodes. But the last question was how the money was divided, and you had to agree to it. Everyone had to agree to it uh, before the timer could stop and the money could you know still be there. So if you waited too long, you wouldn't have anything. So like when they were sent me the previews, it was like people were bickering about who got what to the point where their money was all gone, right? So they had to start it off like it was a good amount, and you just see it just chipping in. But um, one of the people she showed up late. Uh, she was just starting funk with everybody. She was just like I don't know why you said that. You know, like you're being disrespectful. I feel, and I'm like, where's this even coming from? It seemed manufactured. It seemed like she was just putting on a persona. However, she was like the casting people. They loved her. They were like, yes, get her in there because she was super divisive and she knew what they wanted. She'd be the person just like I don't agree with anything, and then just like wait for the money to just completely go. Um, and also create a, a, a societal normalization of that kind of behavior. Because you know, a lot of this is why you know I don't fuck with anyone who watches any of that crazy drama shit. Like people who just obsess over drama, or even the fucking what is it the true crime stuff. I knew someone who used to make those, and it's just like to the extent where it's just like you're trying to exonerate innocent people. I get it. That's great, but you know I used to have an ex who she used to watch like all of these movies and shows about like people getting away with murder or trying to get away with murder, right? And I was like, that's a little concerning. Then it became a little more concerning because she was trying to get me to sign like a life insurance. She was selling life insurance, and she was like, "We can get like $4,000 if you sign this policy." I was like, "This shit, I don't know. This is just it doesn't sound right." You know, I always had my own policy of not being worth more dead than alive. I just like it's something I live by. You know, I got experience that kind of informed that way of thinking. But you know, just the insurance itself, that was some suspicious shit. But then just watching the people get away with murder or the people who didn't, and then be like, oh yeah, they got caught because this uh, uh particular acid got on their shoes. She's like taking notes, like keep away from acid. I don't know. It just didn't sit right with me. Um, yeah, so I avoided that. Thoughts on Tom Steyer's? Uh, Butch Ware. Tom Steyer's he's an interesting character. Um, I have a homeboy Love him. I know him since high school. Wrong on so many things. And when he's wrong, like he doubles down on being the one of the worst kinds of wrong. So he was pro Tom Steyer's. What was it when he ran in 2020? He was working on the Tom Steyer's campaign for president, and I was like, I'm Bernie. Um, Bernie had already let us down, or this was what did he run in 2016? But anyways, I was like for Bernie's healthcare. Like he was talking about healthcare for all. He was the only one like major candidate putting that forward, right? And I feel like I felt like on the Democratic platform that would be big to get them to rally behind that. Um, I was talking to my friend. He was like, I fuck with Tom Steyer because he talk about reparations. I was like, don't get me wrong. I'm not against reparations. I mean, America is all about reparations. We give the reparations to Israel for something that Germany did. So it's really not reparations. It's really it's an extension of our imperialism. And I would be all about taking that money and giving it to people who have been systematically oppressed. Sure, right? But that is a policy that would require a lot of education to the American people for them to be able to understand all that shit, right? I was like, everyone is ready. The polls are ready for healthcare for all. Um, and he was like, nah, but he said he could never fuck with Bernie because Bernie wasn't for reparations. And I was like, that is crazy as fuck. And Tom Steyer, I'm sure if he would have became president, that would have been the first thing he did, reparations. That would have been, he's like, nope, that's a campaign promise. That is a surefire way of just like promising like the world and doing nothing. So my friend, he was so smitten by Tom Steyer. I was like, this is a motherfucker. He got rich through for-profit prisons. But he's for reparations. He's for reparations. How about you give your for-profit prison money to the people who you profited off of? So I'm not buying it. Butch Ware, that's who I would be behind. He's someone who I want to cross paths with. I already got to meet Jill Stein, but not Butch Ware, not yet. But they fucked him. They kept him off the ballot. Um, but par for the course. That's why I also fuck with Shama Sawant. She's I was out helping raise awareness of her campaign. A lot of people, they just automatically assume she's a Democrat. And they're like, nah, I'm tired. I don't fucking think. I'm like, she's not a Democrat. That's her enemy. Her number one enemy out here is Democrats because that's who gets elected. People just see a blue D and that's what they do. Um, and we really need to focus on a policy. If uh, uh, we actually regulate it, like because every billionaire is a policy failure. So Tom Steyer, this motherfucker, not only should he not be running, he shouldn't have the money that makes him feel so confident he could run. Like what the caucasity of it all is offensive. I take umbrage to it. But yeah, just I would like to see some of those data center bombers figure out what you could do to stifle some of the billionaires. I don't know. I mean, the data center that's pretty big, but um, more bombings. I don't know. I'm not for it. I'm not, once again, I'm not advocating for it. But it does warm my heart to see people fighting back. And yeah, Tom Steyer. Did he get on the ballot? Probably. Should he be? No, definitely not. No. Um, but California, whew, I was eager to get back right, before COVID. That's like that was like I was yearning for it. I remember it was the birthday I had before COVID was unleashed. Did DMT for the first time, and yeah, they were like saying they were supposed to just sit there. Everyone else who went before me, they were just like kind of sitting there quietly. It was like, yeah, normally no one moves or anything like that. Then I did it, and I just had this California uh, vision. I was like, I started getting up, started walking towards California. Had to be stopped. But it was all kinds of other stuff that played to it. But I was like eager to get back to Cali. And then COVID hit. And it had a little hitch in my get on. Um, but California, it was like I waited a minute before going back, but I was still eager to go get back there. Um, but they went crazy. And I ended up in a relationship at some point. I used to tell my ex that she kind of saved me because I had friends and family posting shit about getting harassed and locked up for being alone fishing with no one around them. It was just crazy. Um, and the around the vaccine, all my family lost their damn mind. Well, the ones I was talking to. Like they'd be like, "You ain't vaccinated," and talking about how I'm going to get people killed, and it was just some of the silliest arguments. No apologies, not none yet. I remember I was talking to someone recently about it. Well, I was just like, out of nowhere, I was like, "Yeah, where I can get a good booster. Where'd you get your last booster?" They still give them out in the parking lot. He was like, "Well, you ain't got the vaccine." I was like, "Yeah, but I'm about to get it." And he just got mad. He was just like it's something he didn't even want to talk about. Well, motherfucker definitely wasn't keeping up with the boosters. Um, but I remember I had family saying, "Man, I get 50,000 boosters if I have to." Like, really? I was just like, that is just kind of neck and fudge. But none of them kept up with that program. And one of the things that I've noticed, people were just like, "Oh, people who were telling us not to get vaxxed. Thank you. You guys were right." Like, motherfucker, I don't want to be right. I want to be effective. All you motherfuckers who had all that vitriol and hatred towards the people who were telling you they're not getting vaxxed. You had so much to say, so you're investigating, like looking for little memes to post, making them yourself if you have to, and like trying to make someone who loves you lives miserable, right? If you had that energy to do that, I want to see that same energy going into bombing AI data centers, or not bombing them, but you can bomb them with memes. You can say nasty shit. I mean, if you're effective with explosives, I don't know. You can figure out other stuff to do. Skills. Put the skills to use. Just like you're using your skills to harass the people who love you. Just kind of redirect that. Um, and it's offensive. Motherfuckers still look for like they still Google check you. Make sure that you're saying something right about even though you've been right. They'll still like have to like find some stuff, and they'll see conflicting articles like, I don't know if I should believe you or not. But then the motherfuckers who lie to them every step of the way about COVID, like, yep, okay, hantavirus, I'm ready. I'm ready to shit my pants for this. And no, We need to think more critically, people. And Tom Sayers is not a critical thinking decision. Caucasity, yes. That is a word you are going to bring to the repertoire a lot more, because so many times I find it is deserved. It is just anytime you see someone in an area that they require sunscreen, so the sun in that area is rejecting them. Like you do not belong here. You're too low on the equator. Why are you tempting the fates? Like I will burn you. If you need sunscreen in an area, that area rejects you. And if you are in one of these areas, like let's say a Caucasian in the Americas, right? Especially your California, all that shit. If you're in that area that rejects you, and you tell a brown person whose ancestors have lived there for thousands of years to go home, that is sheer caucasity. It needs to be called out as such. It is just like, you do not belong here. Look, out in Israel, they're allergic to not only the sun, they're allergic to the 6,000-year-old olive trees. That land is totally rejecting them. Yet they go out there and they're like, hey, this land is my land. I've owned it for 3,000 years. Sheer caucasity. That needs to be called out as such. So many times. Anytime you hear someone say, oh, but we educated you. We taught you civilization. As if all of the Roman scholars that are so high exalted, your Hippocrates, your Socrates, all of your philosophers, all of your math scientists, they all trained in Africa. They say everything came from Africa. Hippocrates would tell you that in his writing. Motherfuckers take the Hippocratic oath like he is the godfather of medicine. He even say, I stole it from Africa. Imhotep, a multi-level genius. And all of the emblems and stuff like that. Egypt did not become Egypt until white people discovered it. I called it Kemet because all of the signs were created when it was the black soil. Before the Persian scourge, Darius the Great came in, and they added the Persian flair, took information, and then the Caucasians came to run the Persian. It's been like a big theft of the history, and it just like starts with what is it? One of the Cleopatras. It's like, oh, Greece is in there. Greece is in the building. Done talking about how they burned down all of the libraries, all the information. Same person who burnt it down created or brought the Bible to us, the Roman Bible. But that is also why I'm focused on getting into adjusting the curriculum. I'm in a program to become a teacher to adjudicate the wrong that has been done to me. I'll make sure that we don't get any Mossad books. I want people to have all of their rage directed at the appropriate blackmailed pedophiles who are controlling our government, so they can be inspired to do something about the AI data centers. But anywho, internet, a little longer than expected, and I want to hop off before my battery dies. But yeah, check out nateflix.net, new rewinds, new employee evaluations, old rewinds as well, and old employee evaluations. And don't forget to be good to each other. Deuces.